First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua Ba'ashem, Rokakwadash. Yahweh is who this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushua is who this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'ashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Qudash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. Also, give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. In today's video, I wanted to go into how the earth will be rejuvenated. Okay, and I'm not exactly sure how the spirit hit me, with this topic, but hey, this is the truth, is that this earth is going to be rejuvenated. Okay, and hey, nature is going to be something that we can't even possibly imagine. Because what we see right now, this ain't nature. When you look outside, you see the trees, you see the crops, you see the animals. This is not nature. Okay, we're literally living in hell. Okay, this is a terrible condition of the earth. And the reason why is because you have the wicked ruling the earth. Okay, and when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. It says in Ecclesiasticus or Proverbs. When the wicked are in authority, the people mourn, but also the land mourns too. Because one thing about the wicked is that they do everything completely against what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has ordained. And one of the laws that a lot of people don't even think about is that there is a land Sabbath. Okay? Every 7th year, you are supposed to give the land rest. Because in the same way we are living beings, the earth is a living being too. So this is Leviticus chapter 25, and I'll start at verse 1. It says, And Yahweh spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto Yahweh. 6 years shalt thou sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for Yahweh. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard. That which groweth of its own accord of thy harvest thou shalt not reap, neither gather the grapes of thy vine undressed, for it is a year of rest unto the land. Right, so that right there shows you how the land is supposed to rest. Okay, and this commandment is not being followed today. Right, and we see the complete opposite. We see how Esau Edom, is the lead person in deforestation. You have all these talks about, climate change, whether that's real or not. You have all these talks about climate change. The world is getting hotter, they say. You look at how Esau is constantly, digging up oil, fracking, I believe it's called. You look at how Esau, I remember seeing a documentary about animals, these aquatic animals, birds. And there's this island that in the island, these birds have a higher chance of dying from plastic on the island than from the sharks. And that's insane because the nature is literally backwards. The bird was given the advantage to fly. But here it is, these birds, they'll come, essentially, I forgot what bird it's called, but pretty much the bird is on the island and it waits for its mother or father to bring him food. And he just sits there waiting. And the mother father goes, finds food. And those birds, a lot of the times, mistake plastic for food. So they eat it up, store it in their belly. And when they come back to the little baby, they spit it all out and the baby eats that food. But in actuality, he's eating all types of toxins, plastics, and just bullshit that is in the oceans. And when you look at, where is the origin of all this, it all goes back to these Edomites. Okay? All goes back to these Edomites. Okay, plastic bottle goes back to these Edomites. So if Esau, Edom, if the people in power were truly righteous, they would do something about that. They would find a solution to where, the animals aren't suffering. Zoos. Zoos are something that when you think about it, it is completely unnatural and is actually wicked. Because here it is, you got these animals that they are supposed to be out in the world, roaming, doing their own thing, having space, but you squeeze them into a little room for people to watch, to people to laugh at, to be entertained of. And you be looking at these animals in the cages, you be looking at the monkeys, which have a higher IQ or have a just more, understanding of what's going on. And these monkeys, are completely depressed. Monkeys in there drugged up, to not be violent. Same as the tigers, the lions, they drug them up to not react. So the animals are suffering. And essentially everybody is suffering because the wicked are in authority. But soon, all that is going to change. Okay, and it starts with Yahushai's comeback. So let's read this in Isaiah 14 and verse 3. It says, "And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased." Right? So when we get saved, we're going to be talking about America, about Babylon, like, damn, this shit finally went down. So verse 5 says, "Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers." Right? So those people that rule Babylon, which are the Edomites, they are the wicked. And there is so many scriptures to back that up. So verse 6 says, "He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet, they break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no fellers come up against us." Right? And hey, these scriptures are 100% on point, and this shows you that the Lord is the mastermind plan, that these are prophecies. Because it was prophesied that Esau, Edom, and the people that rule Babylon were going to be on that deforestation. Right here it is. It says the cedars of Lebanon, the trees, are saying, hey, since these Edomites have gone down, nobody's came to us. Nobody's tried to, cut us down. And you see how, Esau be taking down whole forests to set up metropolises, to set up, concrete jungles. So when Esau goes down, the whole earth is going to be at rest and is going to be quiet and break forth into singing, right? Those birds are going to be singing. And when you hear those birds sing, hey, when they get in that synchronization, it's something that, is beautiful. It makes you realize that there is a higher power, a higher power, Yahweh, a creator that ultimately made all this. So we'll read verse 17. I'll start at verse 16. It says, "They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners?" Right, so that's what we're going to be saying when Esau go down. We're going to see him in that raw, primitive state, wild man. And we're going to be like, damn, these really the people that fucked us up? That had us, didn't open the house of the prisoners, didn't, let you out that prison cell? That destroyed the earth, made the world as a wilderness? Yeah, those people. So, hey, these Edomites got to go, man. It's just that simple. But I'll get Isaiah 60. This is hitting mainly scriptures today. I want to work on not rambling too much. Because the scriptures is what really does the edifying. Isaiah chapter 60, and I'll start at verse 9. This is going into in the kingdom. It says, "Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahweh thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Right, so this is going into the Israelites ruling, and these other nations being under us. Right, they're going to bring their sons from far, going into how they're going to be our slaves. Right, the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls. Right, going into, hey, they're going to be working for us. Okay, they're going to bring us the forces of the Gentiles. Right, so going into taxes, tributaries. Right, hey, the best of what they have, they're going to bring it unto us, for us to enjoy. And it says, for the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Right, so if they don't bow down to the Israelites, they're going to be destroyed. Right, no ifs, ands, or buts. Another point, verse 13, the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. Right, and I wanted to go into that, how, the earth, right? Whenever you read about Lebanon and the trees of Lebanon were like the top tier trees, beautiful, big, and it was like the top tier of trees was in Lebanon. So that's why it always brings up Lebanon. And it's talk about how, that glory of nature is going to return. So we'll get one more in Zechariah 8 and 7. This is Zechariah chapter 8 and verse 7. It says, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country. Right, so that's the context going into these verses. And we're going to jump down to verse 12. It says, for the sea shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruits, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give their dew. And I will cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. Right, so in that day, the vine, the ground, the heavens are going to give their increase. Right, they're going to actually prosper as they're supposed to. Because what we see right now with the crops, with how, they grow the crops, there's a reason why they got to spray all types of GMOs and pesticides and, accelerate the growth. The reason is because they ain't giving the land the rest. Right, and when the land isn't rested, it can't properly function, the same as us. So that's why they got to do so much shit to the ground, because the land is not giving its increase. But when the Israelites, start running the world in righteousness, everything is going to be in this divine order, and the earth is going to be growing like we've never seen. The earth literally might get bigger. So, hopefully it was edifying. I'll leave it there. And the title of the video, the earth will be rejuvenated. So hopefully that was edifying with the scriptures. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, like Shalom.